By the way, it's a controversial topic. Look, there's a controversial thing to talk about today. For a brand to stand out and have penetration and for people to know your product, it is much more important to have a good investment in digital media than to have a sponsored musician.
Excellent. That's so wonderful. We were talking earlier about how we are influenced. We want to use a Fender, a Yamaha, an Ibanez, a Gibson, because when we started playing, we were totally influenced by the musicians we admire who use these brands. And we also talked about the following. We were discussing off the record how Brazilian brands could change this by starting to become that object of desire for musicians here. Because I believe this way. Buying a Fender or a Gibson today here in Brazil is very expensive. It's very costly. And we've already established that we have excellent instruments being made here by Brazilian brands. Betão mentioned Tajima, Says, Valdeman, PHX, Michael, Strindberg, which are very good instruments of quality that is indisputable, but unfortunately, we don't have that great visibility. But we also have premium instruments, very high-end, you understand, you know what I mean?
It's what we were talking about. The general public, they don't know how to assess the quality of an instrument. A controversial thing I said when I was on my podcast here was like this. I don't know if you remember, right? About
the wood.
There's a lot. No, not about the wood. There are many. EPIPHONES better than many. Gibson. Why? Mainly the frets. And then I said, but you're not ready for this conversation because it's a very long discussion.
It's very broad.
Now, Gibson, we talked about Gibson. L'épaule, concrète.
No, I love it. I like it too.
With all due respect to Gibson, the Les Paul model from Gibson, the Les Paul model from Music Maker, and the Les Paul model from Barbosa are instruments. Better than Gibson depends on the Gibson. No, when I talk about Gibson, I'm talking about Gibson. It's standard. I was passing by. I wasn't talking about one thing. I'm on the ground. No.
I was passing by these days in front of a store in Brazil, a store I admire a lot and recommend, one of the great stores in Brazil. And there was a Gibson there. Tribute, not even studio.
For 18,000 reais, the tribute was 18,000 reais. Wait.
The tribute was 18,000 reais.
Wait, I sold those tributes.
For 5,000-6,000. No, but that was another time, I know. But 18,000 reais. At that time, they cost $800 in the United States. Now they cost $1,300. How expensive, man. That's it. And
a tribute of what? 50, 60?
Now it's just one attribute. It's based on 60 because of the necrophile. But anyway, I believe that today, if I were to make a guitar like mine at Music Maker, it would be 22 to 25,000 reais. You can't compare this attribute with Music Maker. You can't compare a USC standard, which today is 35,000 reais, here with a Music Maker and with a cart with a wood. So, I think that's the comparison. It depends.
Everything you said, but I know that like this. There's a point about Gibson and all those brands you mentioned, actually more Gibson than Fender. They live off a tradition that many times they don't want to break so as not to lose the audience that values this tradition.
Oh, no, that's definitely the case. Just look at it. The time when Gibson decided to change their traditional models like the Les Paul and the SG by adding features that would be interesting. No, it's not part of the chambers. Yeah. For example, they had a line that they started to separate from the standard line, the high-performance line. And then what happened? This HP flopped beautifully. Because people said, man, I don't want you to fix that heel on the neck when playing on the higher frets. I don't want you to give me a nut that I can adjust the height. Or the G string that stays in tune. I want the Les Paul just the way the Les Paul is with all its flaws. Why are you trying to fix that? And the thing flopped big time. And they quickly gave up on that idea. It's Marcelo Barbosa's team.
No, but the Les Paul is life.
Regarding,
I have a Les Paul. The Les Paul is my favorite guitar model.
show it to the people who are smiling.
People will think we're joking. You are Marcelo Barbosa.
I also really like the 67 Mustang, but don't say that the 67 Mustang is better than the Mustang made today. No, definitely not. But then we're talking about it's the fetish. It's that brand thing. So going back to Gibson, I would compare it to the Les Paul. Custom, not with it's the custom, because there's the standard, there's the custom.
It's another factory on the other side of the city. It's another group. It's different. Everything.
In my time, there was a VLS. It was from the time I knew. Ben Gibson was the Les Paul standard, the Les Paul custom, and the Les Paul. I forgot the name. It was Extreme. It's that there was a Planet in Redstock?
No, it's not Extreme. It was Supreme. The Supreme is back in line now. The Supreme is a guitar that is more beautiful. That's it. That's all it is. It's beautiful. No, I think it's beautiful. It's blinding.
But then you even feel bad about putting your hand on the guitar and playing. That's the thing.
But it's not made for Brazilians again. It is made for Brazilians. It costs 3 minimum wages in the United States. It costs 90 salaries.
But like, for example, I played once when Ricardo Marines went to do a workshop at the school. He brought a music maker that he was using. He had just gotten the music maker, a Les Paul Gold Top. And then I was talking to him and said, man, can I just play a little? Because I always thought the music maker, I like Les Pauls, and I always found the music makers very beautiful. Very, like, from what I saw there, I loved it. I said, man, but I've never played one. The first thing I noticed when I picked up the guitar was that it was much lighter than the traditional Gibsons that we're used to. And when you start playing it, man, you see that, like, I've played a lot of Les Paul. It leaves nothing to be desired. A traditional, for example, a custom.
The traditional was below the standard, right?
No, the traditional was below the standard. No, man.
Is the classic below?
The classic it's a bit below. You have the studio, you'll have the studio, the classic, the standard, the traditional.
The
Supreme, no. Then you have the custom, then the Supreme model.
The Supreme is the USA. It's below the custom.
Ah, okay. Then you also have the reissues there. That's already at the crazy level.
The guy takes guitar number 1046, which was Udesh's, and makes the game.
But like, putting it within these models that we have there, I don't know, man, studio and such. Man, as Pedro said, for me it's neck and neck because the construction is very good. There was nothing that you looked at and said, oh, but the Gibson, man, you picked up the guitar and said, man, this is very well built. The Les Paul.
The reality is very difficult, and that's where it is. In the case of Fender and Gibson at a high cost, and this has to be valued, right? Because it's a Fender or it's a Gibson. They have earned the right, which comes from the brand. Exactly. Oh, it's because this guitar, well, you have guitars here that are better but well finished and don't cost the price they do. Why? Because it's a Fender, because it's a Gibson, and people have the desire for it.
How do you reverse this? You have the Led Zeppelin thing.
How do you exactly, as a national manufacturer, reverse this?
Word of mouth.
With 50 years of making instruments. Maybe in 50 years? Because you see, it's all about history.
We're talking about something cool. Back there, for example, there's already this desire for Juninho Ardano to have a legion of fans. And Tajima has expensive guitars from Juninho, Fran, Ardano, and Cacao, which sell and sell well. And this is built over the years. Because there won't be a Fender Juninho, there won't be a Gibson Juninho, but there's the JA1. And the JA2.
And there's the JA3 that we, in an interview with Juninho on TDT, we found out that among Tajima's endorsements, outside of Brazil, it's the most chosen by people. So, there are many people from outside Brazil using the JA3.
From outside Brazil. From outside Brazil.
It seems they have a group with the artists who are endorsed by the brand. And many of them choose the JA3 as the guitar to be sent and the videos playing.
Only from Juninho front.
There are 5 models. Yes, you have the JA1, 2, 3, the Arrow, and the JA1 Gold.
Ah, that's true. There are 5 models. All of them sell well. The Ardanui. There are 3 models. Cacao has 3 models and they sell, man. They sell.